So today I want to give you 4 tips on how to choose paint colors. We're renovating this bathroom, and because we didn't want to do it all at once, we did it in phases. And the priority was getting the shower redone, because before it was like a prison shower. It was cramped, it was gross, it was just claustrophobic. So we got this done, but then we realized the wall color we had on here, which was paper white, it just didn't really mesh well with the tiles that we had. So now it's time to repaint. Choose a different color. Which leads to my first tip when picking a color for a space is get in the space. Be in the room. Don't rely on stuff you see online too much, even me. Get in the space, get a fan deck, and start looking at the colors with the lighting that you have in your room. It's not going to help you picking colors at the paint store. You need to be in the space that you're painting just to give you a much better idea of what you're working with. My second tip is when you do get that fan deck, obviously consider color. Find colors that mesh nicely with the elements that are staying, but also think about contrast. So you don't want to pick a color that looks really good, but maybe is a bit too samey, where you have a wall color that's basically the same color as the tile. Think about contrast with your colors. So something that's either quite a bit lighter or quite a bit darker. So consider color and contrast. You want to find a color that's going to be able to work nicely with whatever elements you have, but also think about the elements you might have in the future. We might replace this vanity. We might fix this tub and change it out. So I found a few colors that I really enjoyed, both lighter and slightly darker variations. Now it's time to test. And some huge tips on testing. Obviously, get a tester pot, get the real paint, or even a sampleized sticker of some sort will do the trick. But before you put the paint on the wall, what I always recommend is prime a section of the wall first to give you a nice white neutral backdrop. If I were to slap some of this paint directly on my pre-existing color, those two colors are going to compete, and they might trick your eye into thinking that what's going to be going on there is actually a slightly different color than what it is. By having a nice white surface, I can put a tester color right here in this section, have it surrounded by white to give you some neutral backdrop. And then also it's close enough to these tiles, which I'm really trying to coexist with, because this is definitely staying. The floor is fine, but there's a chance we might change it up too, so I'm not married to this either. And then on this side, same thing. I have some more white paint to work with. I can use a second color and test on this zone, no problem. Now, in terms of the paint itself, of course I have a tester pot. I also have a much larger tester pot. And this is gonna be tip 3B. Use the tester paint that you already have. This is my main color in my hallway that I love. My wife loves it. We obviously enjoy this color, that's why we painted most of our house with it. So might as well just use some of this as a tester paint on this side. If it works, it works. I already have a little over half of a gallon here, so I don't even need to buy any more paint. I can just slap this on. But I did want to go with another option that takes things into a different direction, a little more taupey, a little more body, and maybe a touch darker. If this one really beats out what I already have, I think that's really saying something. If I'm actually gonna go buy another can of paint just because it's that good, it must be pretty awesome. So tip number 4 is don't neglect LRV. LRV is the light reflectance value. It tells us how light or dark a color is. And if you, let's say, have a color already in the space like we do, paper white, and you really enjoyed the airy feeling about it, you probably don't wanna go too much darker than that color because it'll give you a very different look. So when I looked at this color, it was maybe a touch darker, but still within the same sort of range when it comes to lightness, because we definitely didn't want to go too dark. We already have a much darker color in the bedroom, so we wanted that light and dark interaction to happen, and I feel like we would have lost that if we went too dark in here. I tried to stay close LRV-wise to paper white with these 2 other colors, so hopefully it'll be a similar feel, but just different undertones. That's kind of the goal here. Consider the darkness you're really going for. Do you want that sort of cozy dark feel or more of an open, airy feel? And you can go either way in a bathroom, so we just opted for that light feeling, and I think one of these colors is gonna do the job. And just before you go, this is gonna be me testing out these colors live. Brushes or rollers, either way will be nice, but if you do have the option to go with a roller, I do prefer that because it just replicates the look of how you would paint the whole room using a roller. So we'll start with the new color first. So this is definitely going to feel a little more taupey, a little more of a earthy beige color. to bring in some warmth into the space. And it's close enough to the tile that you're gonna be able to see how they coexist. And of course, paint always dries darker, so don't let the first impression spook you. Talking to my wife, of course, who's holding the camera right now. And there's still some separation between the old color and the new. So even using my vision, I'm making sure that there's no paper white in my peripherals. I'm just focused on these two colors here. And then I got a white sort of backdrop to the side, which is always nice.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
And then what I'll do here with the second color is just use a brush, because I already have a gallon. We'll just brush along the side here. So this is going to be a much lighter feeling color, quite a bit lighter than paper white, but not by much. And you'll have a little more of a yellow-based warmth that's gonna sort of bring a nice sunny sort of feeling into the bathroom. And there you go. So tip number one, get in the space that you're working in. Make sure you're picking colors in the room specifically so you can get used to the lighting. The lighting is gonna influence the color. Really important to be in the room. Secondly, get your fan deck out so you can see all the different color options you have to work with. And then consider not only the elements that are staying, but also the potential elements that might come in later on if you're doing future renovations. Third, make sure to test your colors out. If you're torn between a couple, be sure to test them in the space once you've narrowed it down to maybe 2 or 3 maximum. And don't be afraid to utilize colors that you've already have in your home, because you've proven that you like them and you have access to them. You don't need to go and buy a tester pot for them. You have a tester pot right over there, full gallon of paint. You can really just go to town with it. And then also decide what level of depth you really want. If you want that sort of darker feeling or a lighter feeling, it gives you 2 different aesthetics. And normally I like to go with whatever option contrasts the other elements better, so you can get that little bit of separation. But ultimately, it's up to you. I hope I was able to help you guys out. That's it for this video. See you on the next video.